Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video we are doing a reading wrap-up for me reading 3 of your recommendations for different cozy mystery series that I have not previously read. I want to take 3 of your recommendations and put them to the test. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the first series. As with all of my videos, these are just my opinions. If you personally loved any of these and I didn't like it as much, no hard feelings. We all have different opinions on books that we do and don't like. That's one of the things that makes reviewing books and talking about books with other people really fun, is to hear about differences in opinions, at least in my opinion. So let's go ahead and hop into our first recommendation. So our first recommendation today is from a lovely subscriber named Vicky Boyd, and her recommendation is the Domestic Diva Mystery Series by Krista Davis. So I have read something by Krista Davis before, but I've read her other series, the Pen and Ink Mystery Series, which I really love. So I really love this series, so I was pretty optimistic walking into this series because I was like, okay, well, I really love her Pen and Ink Mystery Series. I do know that this one is a newer series of hers that she started later on, so I was kind of thinking, well, the other series could be maybe like, something that she started on when she was newer in her writing career. This one might be a little more polished, we'll see. But I ended up checking out the second book in the series at my library. It did not have the first book in the series, so I kind of had to jump in at the second book, which is the book The Diva Takes the Cake. And so I ended up giving this book an overall 3.5 stars. I really liked it. I thought it was a good introduction to the cozy mystery series. For me, the main character Sophie, she had some wit to her. She was interesting. She was pretty well fleshed out. I will say this, the beginning of the mystery for me was a little bit of a slow start. However, the premise of this mystery is that Sophie's sister Hannah is getting married, and basically they are preparing for the big day. Sophie is in a flurry trying to, be the perfect domestic diva and host and trying to put together all these things so that her sister's wedding day is really fabulous and lovely. And unfortunately, the day before the wedding, Hannah's, the groom's ex-wife shows up and is actually found murdered. And this puts a heavy spotlight on the happy couple because, of course, Sophie knows that her sister didn't do anything, but the cops are looking at Sophie because, she is the new woman in the groom's life. Like, was she jealous? Did she take out the ex-wife? And people are looking at the groom suspiciously, like, did he have something to do with it? Like, what happened here? And I have to say, I did not see the twists and the reveal for this coming. It was a really interesting conclusion, so I really liked how Krista Davis kind of brought all of that together. Otherwise, I really did enjoy the characters. I think Sophie and her family were really interesting. It did start off a little bit slow for the mystery for me, and I was having a little bit of a hard time with keeping track of the characters. Of course, I was jumping into the second book, so if I had read the first book, I'm sure I would have met some of these characters and that would have helped. It's also a wedding, so of course there's a lot of there's a big influx of characters coming in because it's a large social event. So overall, I thought it was really fun. It was a nice spring summery read. I thought the mystery was interesting. I did like the characters overall, and I do plan on reading the second book in this series, so definitely thank you for the recommendation. I'm excited to check out this series, read more of it. Alright, and so the second series that I checked out for this challenge was recommended to me by Dawn, and that is the Teddy Bear Mystery Series. And so the first book in that series is called Barely Departed, and essentially I tried to read the 6th book in this series because I was trying to read Valentine's Day inspired mystery series, so I tried to read it this last February. However, I ended up DNFing it really early on because I was just really confused with the characters, and it wasn't a good choice to jump into that series. Some cozy mysteries can definitely be read as standalones, but this one not so much. And so Dawn recommended that I go back and read book 1 in the series because she really enjoys the series and thinks it's much better reading it from the beginning. So I decided to go back and do just that because I really liked the general premise of the series. So the main plotline for this mystery series is that it follows Sasha, our main character, and her family who work and own the Silver Bear Shop and Factory, which is a teddy bear factory. So I feel like that's a really unique premise for a cozy mystery. We see a lot of bakers and chefs and different things like that, but I've definitely never come across a teddy bear factory before, so I thought that was interesting. That definitely intrigued me. Our main character Sasha, I did like her. I thought she had a lot of spunk. She was a fun character to follow along, and I liked her relationship with her sister. It felt very fleshed out, realistic, they really loved and supported each other, but they also clashed. I thought it was a good mix of that. The general premise for the first book in the series is that one of the managers who kind of helps try to grow the factory and like market the factory. His name is Will, and essentially after announcing some bad news about having to like cut different jobs in the factory, later that same night he's found dead in the factory with a teddy bear like sprawled out next to him, like very dramatic setup the way she describes it. And essentially that's kind of how the murder unfolds, and Sasha and her family and a lot of the other employees at the factory who heard about this announcement are immediately suspected, because a lot of them, the announcements he made that night would have affected them and possibly their jobs, and a lot of, would have made some negative impacts on them. So there's a lot of suspects, and you get to learn a lot about the factory. I think it's really interesting. There's a lot of great scenes where you get to really read about the everyday operations of the factory, the tours they put on, like they take kids through the factory and show them how everything's put together. It kind of gave me like Build-A-Bear vibes a little bit, but in a more like family business organic way that I liked. So I really had a fun time reading this. The only thing that I will say that I didn't love about this mystery as much is that the mystery itself, I felt like it was pretty easy to solve. Now, sometimes I feel like that's just the case with like the first book in a series, because maybe the author's kind of like dipping their toes in, but that's really the only thing that I could think of that I was a little disappointed, was that the mystery was a little too easy to solve, in my opinion, and I don't think the reveal was like especially exciting, so I felt like a little let down by the mystery. But otherwise, the character, the town of Silver Hollow, absolutely charming, beautiful setting, and I would definitely consider reading another one in this series. I want to see if they have like maybe some other fun like holiday ones that would intrigue me, because I feel like a holiday one in this series would be especially interesting. So thank you, Dawn, for recommending this. I definitely enjoyed reading it. There was some really fun aspects of this. I loved the town. It was really charming. I do really want to see what happens to the sisters as they develop throughout the series, because this first book put in some nice like foreshadowing for different things that could be happening in the lives of the two sisters. So I'm really interested to see what happens with that. And yeah, that was the second one I picked for this series. Alright, and last but certainly not least, we have Death Becomes Her by Nancy Coco. This is part of the Oregon Honeycomb Mystery Series. I'm just blocking my library's name here. I'll put a full picture on screen so you can see a little bit better. But essentially this is, well, it's an Oregon Honeycomb Mystery, so it's located in Oregon, of course. Our main character, Wren Johnson, runs this boutique called Let It Be Honey Boutique, and she keeps like live bees in there. She makes all these different honey-based products like candles and lip balms and skincare. So it's, this really interesting environment. I did learn quite a bit about bees, which I thought was really fun. So Wren is taking her Havana brown cat named Everett, which I think is such a fun detail that she likes to walk her cat. She's taking her cat on a walk on the Oregon beach when she comes across the body of a local woman named Agnes, who's rather well known in town. There's a pretty bold personality, you could definitely say. She comes across this body, she immediately calls 911, and as she's checking to make sure that she's no longer alive, to see if she can offer any like CPR or anything like that, she discovers that the woman is actually clutching a label from one of her like homemade honey like lip balms, which naturally doesn't look very good for Wren, because she not only discovered the body, which puts her close to the murder and crime itself, but then she also, the woman has this label from her lip balm in her hand. So this really does not look super good for Wren, and she's immediately like a huge suspect in this case. Her honey shop, like they end up wiping out some of the product and taking it back to test it. They close her down for a while. It's a very small town with a lot of like gossip, so this is like a very big detriment and very scary to her business's future. So she's really just having a hard time between being suspected, between the trauma of finding the body, and then her own business and livelihood being threatened in the process. What I loved about this is that Wren has this really fun aunt who is just like really take charge and like will really tell it as it is, and I really enjoyed her aunt. The employees in the shop, the boutique that she works in, also are extremely fun. They were really interesting. I enjoyed reading about them. The only thing I wish that this cover and the description convey better is that this was actually takes place during Halloween, and on the back of this copy at least, there's nothing here that would lend you to it doesn't tell you it's Halloween, and there's quite a bit of Halloween like mentioned in here, like different events. You know, Ren dresses up in different costumes for different days of the week for Halloween. There's a lot of fun like Halloween details, and I kind of thought it was a shame that the front of this cover doesn't have anything that indicates that it's like a holiday cozy mystery, because for me at least, and I think a lot of you, a holiday cozy mystery, like if it's during a holiday or a specific season, that's an even bigger draw. So I feel like they kind of missed an opportunity to advertise and show off that this is a Halloween cozy. Like I thought that'd be a nice thing to show off personally. But anyways, this was probably, out of the 3 I read for this video, I did enjoy all of them, but I would say that this one was my favorite. I really, really enjoyed this one, and this was a recommendation by Kat, so thank you for recommending this to me. She'd mentioned it a few times, and I was like, okay, I just need to read this clearly. It sounds really, really good. So this one is a newer series. I think there's currently 2 books out, so I'm going to see if I can get my hands on the second one and read that through my library. I definitely want to check out more from the Domestic Diva series. And the Teddy Bear Mystery Series, I did like that one. It was a little bit more hit or miss than the other 2, but if I saw one that like caught my attention, like had an interesting theme, or like a holiday one that I really liked in the series, I would definitely, like, I wouldn't hesitate to pick it up and give it the series another go, see how I like it a little bit farther into the series. So I really, really enjoyed doing this. If you guys have recommendations, if you want me to do like a second wave of these, and you have recommendations for different cozies or mysteries in general that you'd like me to read, definitely leave the comment down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Please let me know if you have read any of these series and what your thoughts were. I love hearing your opinions, even if we have different opinions. It's super fun to hear, you know, what you did and didn't like about different books and series. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. See you guys soon. Bye.